Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to your Aston versus Cardiff City post-match reaction. Please do share it, all that good stuff. Get it out and about. It's going to be a quick discussion about the game and stuff. I am joined as ever by Rhys. How are you, mate? You okay?
Not bad. How's things?
Oh, yeah, I'm good, mate. I just need to stay off social media, I do, mate, because people's footballing opinions infuriate me massively. Like, so it's just, I honestly, like, I read some of them and I'm just like, I'm not sure they're watching the same game, like, but yeah, look, it is what it is. It's all opinions, and we welcome them all, mate. But it's one of them. Like, you look at the quality which Aston Villa put out, and you look at the quality they were able to bring off the bench. It was always going to be an uphill battle. It was always going to be down to, could we defend well? Could we have a bit of luck and just get that bit of fortune? I thought we defended really well. We played all right, generally speaking, and we just didn't. It didn't quite fall for us. Like, the half chances we had, we didn't get in. We didn't get that penalty in the first half. With, you know, if the luck's on your side, you get that penalty. If the luck's on your side, that Salic one goes just to the side of the keeper, or it takes a deflection or whatever. But like, overall, I just was very impressed. I thought all the homegrown players, I thought all the players really so I thought El Ghazi was quite poor, but you can't fault his attitude. Like, in the 94th minute, he ran back and made a last-ditch tackle when Villa nearly scored, like, on the break. And I just think, all right, he might not be at his best and he's struggling a little bit, but the attitude and the desire to want to do well for your teammates is there. So I think you've just got to take your hats off to it. Like, the other thing, mate, is the guy who scored 2 goals for them is like a Real Madrid club. I don't know if I'd say he's a club legend, but he's like certainly a club icon. Came through their academy, played, loads of games for him at the top level, played Spanish international. Like, he's quality, and that's their rotation players.
But I say it all the time in the pod, right? If you go to a game and you can come away and say you give 100% and a bit of magic and a bit of quality's beating you, you hold your hands up and say, you know what, there's quality beat us. I thought tonight it took a Champions League side, it was 70 minutes. We're still in the game, 70 minutes. It took Champions League side to bring, to have a bit of magic from a player from a Madrid academy, a place for PSG normally, to put us to sword. Other than that, I thought they did not for nothing. I thought we made them look bang average. I just thought, again, a bit of magic had beat this as well, a bit of quality. I think we could hold our heads high from that performance.
100%, mate. And then when you add in, we had 2 teenagers in the back line.
Players are fit. Players playing injured. NG's playing through an injury.
Yeah.
Robertson come on after 60 minutes. He's not fit enough yet to play 30 minutes. He put a shift in. Rambo's struggling for fitness. He's got a shift. I mean, they patched the team up together and they all put a shift in. You can't fault them at all.
Absolutely. Like, I thought, start with Louis Giles. Like, I thought Louis Giles I thought in the first half he's done a really good job. I thought he was good in the second half, for 20 minutes. Like, up against one of the better wingers in the Premier League. And he kept it pretty quiet. He didn't get skinned by him, didn't get done by him. The first 15 minutes, he was left a little bit isolated by Willock. But after that sort of 12, 15-minute period, I think they must have had a word with him. Because after that, I thought Willock was excellent defensively. Like, he really helped him out. But I thought the only thing I would have said with Giles was I would have liked to have seen him stop a couple more crosses coming in. But in the second half, he did that. In the second half, he did stop a couple of crosses. I thought he gave a really good account of himself defensively. I would have, when we play different teams, you'll see what he can do going forward and putting crosses in. But that was never going to be today's game, him bombing forward or the wing backs bombing forward. I thought, Dylan Lawler, mate, I think he's going to be our next Gabadon. I know I don't want to put pressure on the kid, but he's so calm and he's so accomplished with the way he played. Like, he must have been nervous today to make his first team debut, and to be able to put in a performance like that is just astounding. Like to be able to have that calmness, and he didn't put a foot wrong. And I thought I'm starting to see why Bellamy and the Wales coaches and the Wales setup think that Ruben will long term be at 8. We've seen it a couple of times recently, like just 20-minute periods where we've been chasing a goal, or subs have been made and Rhys has moved him back into the 8. And I thought it was quite a brave decision today to put him in alongside Ramsey, because I don't think many people would have picked that as their midfield too. And I thought both of them together were very good. But I just thought Ruben Colwell was by far our best player. And I wonder whether he might be a bit better deeper, mate. I don't know. Like, I need a bigger sample size. But like what he does do when he's deeper is he gets on the ball and his vision is so good. He sprays it out wide and he plays it inside players for players to run into space. Whereas when he's in the 10, he's a bit more crowded out. So I do wonder whether, not what I would have predicted at the start of the season, but I wonder at some point if we see Ruben in the 8 and Robertson in the 10, which is interesting. But yeah, I thought he was real good.
I thought he carried the ball well tonight. I thought he shielded the ball very well as well. I mean, I think we were trying to win the free kicks and get the set pieces. I think that was the aim tonight. So to have him shield the ball, win the free kick. Let's be honest, if you're a rugged midfielder and you go down, they're not going to give a free kick after. They think it's 50-50. If you're a skillful player with flair and technique like Ruben, he gets taken down, they're going to go, right, it's a foul. Do you know what I mean? It's the way they see the players like. So I thought he did well. I don't see him as an 8. I do think he's better for the forward. He has a bit more space and time with the ball. I do think he needs to learn to read the pitch a bit better, though, because I think when he does play 10, he drifts to the right-hand side a lot and he sticks there. I don't think El Ghazi offered him much tonight. I think El Ghazi was offside constantly yet again. I was saying in the group chat earlier, I wasn't disappointed with El Ghazi because I've come to expect this from him. He's not shown us anything in the league that makes it look different. I think he's a shadow of his former self, and I'm disappointed he's played the full 90 minutes tonight. I think the way we set up, we were going for the counter, and I thought there was no pace on either wing. I thought Willock did a good job defensively, but I don't think he's got the pace to be out the winger. I thought Isaac Davis at 60 minutes would have been a better option. And he could have brought El Ghazi on him for the last 30 minutes, where he could have had his say his goodbyes to Villa and stuff, and Davis could have had some minutes on his belt. So yeah, I think he looked like he was snatching his chances well the first half. He was desperate for that goal, wasn't he? So, I think he snatched a few chances, but overall I thought we looked okay. I thought one or two times we cut Villa open, we got him behind up, just unlucky not to get the end of things. That's all. I'm honestly thinking if we can take that attitude into Burnley on Tuesday now, we can get keep a clean sheet at least. We can defend like that.
The El Ghazi one, I understand why he started. I understand probably why he played 90 minutes. But I agree with you. The one thing which was lacking for us, we had the system all right. We had everything. The shape was compact. That we were passing the ball pretty well in our own half and in the middle third. But then when it got to that sort of final ball, we were playing good balls down the channels or inside the fullbacks, and we didn't have the pace to get in behind. And that's where I think we could have probably done with either Davis or Ashford, just to have that like electric pace to get in behind. Because a couple of times we played good balls and we just didn't have the pace. Like Salic, I think at one point was one-on-one with their defender. And there was one where Willock got the wrong side of in the second half. He was through, really, if he had pace. Like if that had been the same thing and fallen to Davis, he'd have been gone with the ball and through on goal. But I just, I don't know. Like I saw some people on Twitter saying like they felt like Giles was out of his depth in the first half, and I just didn't see that at all. And I don't really understand it because I think Lawler. I say it with Ruben as well. We should be getting behind these players, like because they've got the ability, but you need to let them, like with Lawler and Giles particularly, you've got to let them settle into playing first team football. I understand people expect stuff from Ruben because you see a performance like that tonight, and you're like, right, do that in the league games or do that, perform to that level week in, week out. It's not always as easy as that, but like I do understand why people expect more from him, but I also think he seems to be at the moment that kind of scapegoat guy, which everyone wants to blame. But I thought, Salic is such a handful, isn't he? I really like him. I just hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't get stuck trying to battle the defenders too much and get distracted by that and not. Today he put himself about and it was good, but sometimes strikers like that, when they come to new leagues, they realise it's physical and they almost get sidetracked with the grappling and the battling. And actually, he's pretty good at linking up the play and he's good at winning flick-ons and good at shielding the ball. So, and the one thing they didn't mention on the TV, which always frustrates me, is they mention how Villa have rotated and they got loads of games, but there was no mention of like Cardiff have had, the Burnley game will be their 4th game in 8 days, I think it is. And, we were heavily rotated today. There was nowhere near, like a full strength squad or full strength 11, a couple of teenagers in there. Thought it was very, very good. I thought I'd shout out to Will Fish as well, by the way, because I took a bit of grief earlier in the season when I said, like, when he gets a chance, he'll show what he can do. And I really believe that he's got better and better as he's played more. I think he's good in the aerial duels. He's good defensively. But he showed tonight, like, his passing is good as well. Like, he put a couple of diagonal balls, which were just pinpoint. And again, like I said it the other week when he played, be really unlucky to not play against Burnley. He will. Now, I know it'll depend on injuries and stuff like that. But I do sort of get the impression that if everyone was fit, he probably doesn't play. And I think he's a bit unfortunate because I think he's been really good lately.
Well, you said about Louis Giles just now, some of the criticism, right? We all know, we've spoken to like Darren Purse and stuff, playing under 23s is not the same as playing men's football. So for starters, it's his first start in the men's football in God knows how long. He's playing against Champions League players, right? Asensio looked at that and seen Dylan Lawler and Louis Giles on the same side of the pitch and they targeted that side. He made them both quiet. He kept them both quiet. I thought he was fantastic. I don't know how anyone could criticise him tonight. I think the only thing he did wrong was he went to kick a ball and slipped.
Yeah.
And even that didn't go into play. That went straight to the wide man and kept it in. So again, I don't understand the criticism of Louis Giles. But Ruben, I'm someone who's critical of Ruben simply because I think we've all come to expect magic from him. I think when he turns it on, he's unplayable. When he turns it on, he's one of the best at doing what he does as a 10. He's the flair, the technique, picking passes, the linking play and stuff.
But when he's acting, he's unplayable, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like when he's at his best.
The problem is we only see him once every 5 or 6 games and it'll be average. So again, I don't think it's criticism as in, we're critical of Ruben because we don't think he's good enough and stuff. But I think we've come to expect so much from him. And it's got to be tough because he is a young player. And he is carrying a team sometimes. I mean, let's be honest, last season, it was all on him when he was playing up the top because there was no creativity anywhere last season. It was coming from him. I think the pressure is eased a bit now because it's from other players. But I think the pressure's back on because we've had so many injuries. It's back on his shoulders again. So I think some fans are critical and stuff like that. Horvath tonight, I'll hold my hands up. I'm not a fan of Horvath, but I thought tonight he was fantastic.
His distribution still makes me a little bit nervous, but I thought he did all right, actually. Like, he was fine, but he does make me a little bit nervous. But I think shot stopping, I think he's been, in all the FA Cup games this year, he's been really good this year. And I think I understand why people are a bit like, because he made some clangers last year and he wasn't great at the start of this season. But if you look at our FA Cup run this year, he's been very good in every game. So I think he's got to play now, isn't it? I was surprised he played tonight because I just felt like if he gets suspended or injured, we are right up the creek without a paddle. And it only takes like a ball bouncing through and the striker gets it before him and he's sent off. And then suddenly you have got the keepers and Matt Turner's playing in the league game against Burnley. So I thought we'd have played Turner tonight to make sure, however, didn't pick up an injury or suspension, but hopefully, no knocks and stuff. Interesting one, mate. 2 kind of questions linked, I suppose. What system would you play against Burnley? And what midfield would you pick in terms of the 2 and the 10? Because we have got options in those positions.
I think defensively we got holes all over the place. Defensively, we're lacking. I'm a fan of the 4-2-3-1. I've always said this. And if it is the 4-2-3-1, Reno's had a few days rest. Hopefully he's back to his best, right back. Fish looks outstanding, to be fair. I think Fish and Gutas. And you play, I'd say Bagan left back. I mean, I've got no qualms putting him left back if O'Dowda needs a rest, because again, he put another big shift in tonight, O'Dowda. So
I didn't play tonight, did he?
Was no O'Dowda, no?
No.
Sorry,
Giles,
I know you had rest.
Sorry.
Giles, I'm trying to say, sorry. I no qualms on Giles if he plays there, but Bagan there, if O'Dowda gets rested, but I'd play him for the forward. The midfield, Chambers has been rested. Is he fit for Tuesday? If he is, I'd play him there. I think we're missing him. You've got Mansfield, you've got Rambo. I don't think Rambo plays his midweek games, though. I think he plays every weekend game now, I think, if I'm honest. Again, I'm a fan of the 4-2-3-1. Is Robertson fit to do 60 minutes? I don't know what the fitness is like. I don't know who's fit. I don't know who's...
The problem in the Burnley game is if we're going to get anything, we're going to have to score. And Burnley don't concede many goals at all. So I do understand with that. I think we'll set up with 5. We'll go 3 or 5 at the back. I would go Bagan, Gutas, Fish as your 3. And then probably, I don't know, like Reno Motor on one side. And then I'd be inclined, like if O'Dowda's fit, you play him. Or I wouldn't be against playing Giles at left wing back. I thought he did more than enough tonight to say that he can be trusted. But it's a difficult game, Burnley is. I could see us playing 3 at the back. And then it's just, do you go with 2 older midfielders with like Mansfield and Chambers? Or do you go with, like one of them and then someone else? I agree with you. I think Ramsey might be on the bench for Burnley, but I don't expect him to play. But they might save him for the Sunderland game. Like if they feel that there's more chance of winning the Sunderland game. I know you shouldn't go into games thinking like that, but if they look at the 2 and they think Burnley's going to be tough, so let's, we'll rest Ramsey for the Sunderland game. Who else didn't play tonight? Ashford came off, didn't he? Came on, didn't he? Yeah, I mean, Robinson, I still don't think is fit, is he? Robinson, I think he looks like he's... And Robertson, actually, they both look like they're struggling for a bit of fitness.
But that's the thing, that again, so many injuries have plagued us. Illness has plagued us. I think poor pre-season has cost us. I think players picked up a lot of injuries because of a poor pre-season and then playing 90 minutes. I think if you do go with the Chambers and Mansfield, I think Mansfield's such a good ball carrier that if we do go defensive, he can push forward in the game as well and link up play. So it's not too worrying if them two are in the middle. But if we do that, you do need pace further forward. And again, I don't know how bad Alves' injury is, but you'd want him there. If not him, Davis. I mean, when's Tanner back? I mean, we're missing so many players.
I wouldn't be against giving... I don't know what the situation... I think Alves might be back for Sunderland. Not sure about Burnley. But, I wouldn't be against playing Davis and Ashford on the wings.
Yeah.
Because at least they both do a lot of good defensive work. Same as Alves. Like any of those 3 as your wingers or as your wide sort of strikers. And then, because they'll get back and help. But they're also got that pace on the back. I feel like if you're going to play Salic, you need people running beyond him for when he drops in. Because we do this. You can see the patterns that Rhys is trying to do. When Ruben got the ball a couple of times today, he was firing it in to El Ghazi or Salic's feet with the idea that he fires it in quite low and flat. They lay it off either back to him or to one of the other midfielders, and then someone else is like the third man run behind. So it's like forward, back, forward. And it's a basic pattern, but you can see what we're trying to do. And that's where I disagree with people who say like, oh, Rhys is too inexperienced, he's got no tactics, blah, 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 blah. Like, I completely disagree, because I think even tonight, you can start to see what we're trying to do. And you see it in glimpses. Like we cut through Hull at the weekend. Every time we moved the ball on Tuesday, if we moved the ball, just a little bit quicker. And you saw it with Villa today. The second they moved the ball quick, we struggled to stay with them. When they were just going side, back, it was very easy for us. But as soon as they picked up the pace and just moved the ball quicker, and everyone's got to keep moving side to side, backwards, forwards, it's very difficult to do. But we've got the players to do that now. It's just getting the right combinations for the right games. I think that's about as like basic as I can say it. Like, I just think it's finding the right combination. So I actually think we got the wrong combination of players off the striker tonight. Like you said earlier, we needed pace. That was the only thing which I think, like, tactically we probably got like a little bit wrong. But then equally, he's trying to protect players because we've played 3 games in short space of time. El Ghazi was relatively fresh, so he plays. And Willock hasn't played as much football as some of the others, so he played. Like, so you can get why they started. I thought we might see Isaac Davis at some point, but it's one of them, isn't it? It's like, if I'm Will Fish and I'm Ruben Colwell, you'd be disappointed if you're not in the starting lineup on Tuesday against Burnley. Burnley, isn't it?
Yeah. It depends how we play.
You would be disappointed, wouldn't you, if you're not in the starting lineup? Like, ultimately,
you would, yeah. But like, I think I mentioned you two tonight, the amount of space out wide against Hull. And one thing I noticed, when it's Ashford compared to Willock will cut back in. He will. He looks like he's afraid of losing the ball, so he will cut back in, look for a pass or a safety pass. Ashford's got nowhere. He's trying to take his man on. If he loses the ball,
space, won't he?
If he loses the ball, he'll drop back and try to win it again. I think it's a different mentality, and I think you'll need that against Burnley, because I think we don't have the players to effectively break down the back 4 if they stood in front of us. We need to get the ball out wide, in behind the defence, and put the ball in the box. That's where our goals are coming from. So I think you need to go Ashford and Davis, either wing, with the pace. Again, they've got no fear. They'll run, they'll lose the ball, they'll win it back. And if they don't win it back, it's not going to stop them running at the defender again. But I think Willock he looks like he doesn't want to lose the ball, and he always cuts back. He always looks for the safe pass rather than doing anything with it. So I'd be happy to see both of them on the wing on Tuesday. I think Burnley, it's one of those where Burnley, right? Because I know I'm playing devil's advocate now, we are really, but the longer this goes on for, right, every game becomes one of those now. We can't concede now. We've got to keep this running going. We can't concede. So everything they do now is hyper pressurised them. So there's a mistake in it, that game Tuesday night. They're away from home against a team at the bottom of the league. There's a mistake.
On them, isn't it? All the pressure's on Burnley. But the other thing I think people forget is, like, in that Burnley game at the start of the season, the first 20 minutes, we were exceptional. We were really good. We were moving the ball around quick, had a couple of half chances. They went 1-up because Hovarth let it go under his foot. And then one of the defenders made a mistake straight after. And before you knew it, they were 2-0 up, and they hadn't really had a shot on goal or created a chance. It was just we'd made 2 clangers. And then they had another shot then, which went in from, long distance. And before, somehow we were 3-0 down, and we were just like, because I remember I did a Burnley podcast before and after it, and they were like, Cardiff were really good, but we just scored all 4 of our shots, and it was kind of one of them. So, like, Burnley are not unbeatable, and I think we're much more of a unit now, and we're tactically much more together. There's a plan, and whatever system he goes with, I kind of relatively confident that we'll be all right. I think if we play a 4 at the back, I think Bagan will play left centre back. I even as much as I like Fish, I think that's the right choice. I think having Bagan at left centre back opens up the whole side of that pitch when we're trying to play out. And by the way, I thought we played out really well today. I know it's nerve-wracking at times, but I thought we did it really well against a team that's very, very quick and very good at pressing. But I would like to see us go a bit more direct. I wouldn't go direct to Salic, though. I'd go direct and try and hit the wing backs or Ruben or whoever's in the midfield areas and bypass the press with a long pass into the wide areas rather than just lumping it up, because we did that a couple of times today. We just lumped it up to Robinson or Salic and we just lost the ball. Whereas if we look for the ball, like whoever plays in midfield, whether it's Chambers, Mansworth, Ramsey, Colwell, I've missed one. Robertson. Whoever, all of them are good on the ball. All of them are good ball carriers or technically to technically press resistant, where they can receive it, with their back with someone on them and lay it off or pop it up or put it in the channel or whatever. Like, they're all very technically capable. So yes, let's utilize that, play over teams' presses, so we're not playing ourselves into trouble without just lumping it and then it just coming back, especially against teams like Burnley and Sunderland, where we're going to have a bit of pressure on us. I would like to see us just be a bit more clever with it. But I thought we played out from the back pretty well. Like, it's just nerve-wracking.
I think one of my only criticisms I've had recently is our ball retention. I think sometimes the passing has not been right. It's sloppy. I think the first touches there is down a few times. I think we've really got to improve on that because, again, I think Tuesday night, the amount of times the ball went to Willock or Robinson, his first touch let him down, we lose the ball straight away. The pass is on and we give it straight back to them. Ball retention is something we've got to work on. But I think it's just little things like that. And I think you get that right. And again, who knows?
I think it's coming, mate. I think between now and the end of the season, we will give someone a spanking. I think we'll just get a day where it'll all click. Because I think if you go back and watch since Oxford to today, except the Leeds game, I think in every game you can see glimpses of what we're trying to do, whether it's defensively, in the midfield, the shape, the way we're trying to move, or the patterns of play, or the rotations. You can see what we're working on, what we're trying to do. We just haven't been able to put it together for 90 minutes. But because of what the situation we're in with relegation and the league, you kind of also just got to dig in and try and keep clean sheets and get the odd goal. But I do think it's coming. And I don't say that lightly, mate. If the team's shit, I'll say it's shit. And if we're good, we're good. Like, I always try and be fair and balanced in what I'm saying. But, like, I do feel like it's coming. And I think the players seem happy, which is a massive thing for me. Like, I hear and I speak to people and I hear these kind of rumours that people are not happy with Rhys and they want someone more experienced. But I think it would be a huge risk, mate, to replace him. If we lose a couple of games, they replace him because they panic. I just think, Jesus, that is such a risk because everyone's the players are happy at the moment. So they're more like happy players are going to dig in for you and they're going to fight for every ball and fight against relegation. If you piss off that group of players because you get rid of the manager that's done all right, like, in my opinion, if you look at what he's had to work with, just like in terms of the circumstances, where we were when he came in, I think he's done. And I like the way ITV framed it. They said, Omar Rhys hasn't lost a game or has lost like 2 games in whatever, like they gave the stat. And it's interesting how that stat can be used depending on what your agenda is. So, like, people who don't think Rhys is up to it will say, oh, we've only won X amount of games or we've lost X amount of games in this much. And they kind of ignore all the draws. Whereas when you include the draws and the wins, his record's pretty good. Like, he hasn't lost loads of games. And when you take out the late goals and the lapses of concentration, I think we're like mid-table. Like, people, I don't know if they don't realise, or like we went through a period of just conceding late equalisers, and it was just, they've cost us points. And don't get me wrong, that's on the manager, but the manager can't make the strikers or the players take their chances. Can't make them shoot. He can't make them defend. He can't stop them making mistakes. Like, that's down to individuals and the collective team switching off. And like, I thought Perry NG was good again tonight. He switched off once and Rashford got in behind him. And I texted my friend and I said, hopefully that's the one time he switches off because we kind of got away with it. But I thought he was excellent against Hull as well. So he's slowly starting to look more like himself. He looks a bit happier and looks like he's enjoying it again. And he, like, Perry NG, when he's at it, you want him on your side because he's not only is he a good footballer, but he's a bit of a shit house and he gets reactions out of people and he gets the team and the fans up. You want that version of him. But most of this season, we haven't seen it. So I'm glad that I've seen it the last couple of games.
what I'll say as well, right, is regardless of what anyone's opinion on Rhys is, right, this side is Bullet side. This is a side of Bullet built. And it was built to be defensive. Now, Rhys is an attacking coach, so obviously he's not got the players to play the ball how he wants to play. So he's trying to put players together to try and play his style of football, and maybe some of them can't do it. Now, it's not the manager's fault. He's got to change his style to suit them. So I would be keen to see what a Rhys side will look like if he has a summer to build the players. If he's allowed to say, yes, this one can go, this one can go, this one can stay, I want these lot, then I'd be interested to see what Rhys side looks like, because I think if he can get the players he wants to play the style of football he wants, I do think there'll be a big difference. I do think a lot of players have let him down this year. And I think a lot of them let Bullet down as well. Now, I was a big fan of Bullet. I think a lot of players let him down. And again, I think a few let Rhys down. But I would like to see what a Rhys team looks like when he gets a chance to build a team rather than working with someone else's team. And let's be honest, I loved Bullet. I really did. But it was left in an absolute mess, it was. The players weren't fit. The pre-season was absolutely poor. We brought in several players who hadn't played in so long. They were all unfit anyway, so they couldn't play for a while. We didn't strengthen the bench. We just brought in a couple of first-team players. We didn't have no depth or nothing there. There was no, I wouldn't say, there was no style of football. It was just hit, sit back, hit on the counter and hope we get a goal. Or hope we get a set piece and shot back. You can't play like that. So I think Rhys has also brought in 3 players in January. You got Mansworth, a fantastic ball player. The pass technically looks fantastic. Will Alves is excited on the wing, pacey, direct, bit of trickery, what we've been lacking for years on the wing, to be honest, now. And he's brought in Salek, who looks like a proper number 9 poacher, plays off the shoulder of the defender, gets the goals. I mean, Robinson's got 12 goals. How many do you have before Bullet, when Bullet was there? 1? And like 3 or 4 last year. And Rhys has got 11 more. So obviously it is working, but these are not his players. So I would like to see what he can build given the opportunity. I just think the board have got to trust someone, and they can't keep chopping and changing every 6 months hoping for something to happen. They've got to give it to him now and say, look, here's a 2-year contract with a year for us to option for us to extend if we want to. Other summer, build what you want to build, take the players where you need to go for pre-season, get the job done, and we'll see where you are at Christmas time. I think that's the only option we can do now. Because whoever does come in will not get supported. We're not going to get like a Russell, I don't want Russell Martin, we won't get a manager who plays super sexy football because they'll want money to spend, and we won't give them that. And we want support the manager. He needs support. He needs more staff in, I think, because we haven't got a fitness coach, I don't think. And I think there's a fitness coach needed. I think we need more coaches in the first team. The academy players are coming through under him as well, which we haven't seen for how long. So
the other thing is, right, so we're just on that with Rhys, like you look at the 3 players he did bring in, they've all had an impact. They all look good. They all look like they would improve the way we play. When you look at our team, a lot of the places are already there, like Alex Robertson's come in the summer. You've got Will Fish, who's young as well. Then you've got, like you mentioned, like Dylan Lawler and Giles and Joel Colwell and people like this. So you've got quite a good basis. And if he can bring in similar players to what he's brought in January, or even the same players on loan again next year, he's going to be halfway there, On the Bullet thing, it's interesting. Do you know when I think Bullet lost to the majority, and I'm not on about the fans, I'm on about the players, is he spent all pre-season playing this super attacking shape where it was effectively like 2-3-5 when we were in possession, and the wing backs were fullbacks were like right up with the forwards, and the wingers were tucked in, and the striker, and you had 5 across the front, and then you had the 10 and the 8 behind, and then Psyopis just sort of sat with the centre backs. He did that all pre-season, and then he did it for about 20 minutes. I think it was Preston, first game of the season, and then we never saw it again. So all the promises of at the end of last year was like, right, we stabilised the club. We finished 12th. Yes, the football wasn't great. They kind of acknowledged that and said, but the football will get better now because we'll get the players he wants, and we'll basically we'll build on the foundations that he's put in place. And I just think within 2 or 3 games of the season, it was very clear that he wasn't going to differentiate from what he had done the season before. And I think he just lost I think he'd lost some of them anyway, where he'd fallen out with them. And then I think he just lost the majority after that. Now, you could say, and I think there's always an argument for those players get paid by the club, so they should just get on with it. But ultimately, people are human beings, and they are emotional. And if they see things in their workplace and things aren't working and there's confrontation and whatever, like, they're human beings. So it just doesn't function and it doesn't work. But that's where, just my opinion, that's where I think he ended up losing the majority. And then, some people would say down tools. Some people would say not good enough. Some people would say it's on the manager. I think it's probably somewhere in between. But I think if you look at Rhys's record, look at what he's brought in January and how they've been, like how they've done. Then you look at his history of working with young players. Plus, you've got Darren Pearce on the coaching staff, who's worked with all the academy players and been a part of bringing them through. That, to me, seems like a very intelligent base to go and rebuild this team, particularly when you've got a lot of experienced players out of contract in the summer. Your Mateys, Gutas, I don't know if he wants to stay or not. I wonder whether he will. And this is purely, guesswork on my part. I do wonder whether he might look to go back to Europe or whatever. Like, I don't know. I know he was close to Cyprus. So all this talk of I would give him a contract, I really would. And especially because all our centre backs are quite young. I think he's a good experienced head to have in there. But does he want to stay is the question. You've got Matey and Ramsey and Rawls both out of contract, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, oof, what are you going to do about that? Be interesting. I just hope we don't end up giving all those 8 players contracts, is what I would say. I think there's a couple that you can let go and rebuild with the younger generation. Just my opinion. Some people will disagree.
So back to the summer thing a sec. I think there were signs that things were wrong at the start, before the season started. I think we left it very late for announcing if Bullock was going to get the job or not.
Yes.
We went to the summer, still I'm in an iron, is he going to get it? I went to the pre-seasons, I went with Matt did it, and every game was 8 under-21s players, David Turnbull, Isaac Davis, and one other first-team player, Tanner or someone. So the first-team players weren't even getting in the pre-season team, so they weren't going to be fit. It was just all the kids. I think we then went into start the season then. They wanted James Rhodri to come in to be a coach, and apparently Bullock said, no, I don't want him in. So then we had Rhys come in. So obviously there was interference maybe from above, or I don't know, but there seemed to be a massive divide between the staff and the board, it looked like. And then the news came out then that the club had Ken Chu to announce that Bullock was going to get sacked, not Dalman. And then there was the Leeds game. That's where I would say I was a big fan of Bullock. I lost a bit of respect for him in the Leeds game because
it was unacceptable, wasn't it?
There was a moment. The result was one thing. But there was a moment where everyone stands up and applauds for Sol Bamba, and Rhys just sat there like that, and the entire Cardiff bench sat down with their arms folded. The Leeds team were all up clapping for Bamba, even the manager. None of us did it, and I thought that was it. And I think that was right on the wall. It was game over then. And
in that same game, I was sat on the Leeds bench. Basically, I was right behind the Leeds bench, and I had never seen a Cardiff team at home retreat in that fashion. Leeds would pass it out from the back, and we would literally jog in backwards until they were 30 yards out from our area, and then we'd go and lightly press. And I just couldn't believe what I was watching. I don't think the Leeds bench could believe what they were seeing either. But anyway, that's is what it is. But it's that disconnect, mate, isn't it, between the club and the manager. And I think Rhys has done a pretty good job of uniting that a little bit as well. It does feel like everyone's a bit more on the same page now. Now, whether they are or they're not is another conversation. And we can always talk about the lack of structure above the manager. But in terms of generally speaking, I don't really know what people expect from Omar Rhys, or what they think any other manager would have done better or worse. Like I think he's shown he's quite tactically adaptable. He shows that he's trying to think about games and trying to how to win them and how to get something from them. He's giving young players a chance. Like all these things that we've been crying out for over the years. A manager who's tactically astute and who wants to play the young players and wants to play with pace. Well,
that's a big thing, that is, because all our previous managers are all first-team managers. This always, it's not good. They've got to be good enough before they're old enough. With Rhys, I think, because he's worked in academies and stuff, I think he's probably more aware of what to look for in youngsters. And he can make a step up. I can see what he's doing. I can see he can make a step up. I'm going to put him through. And that's got to be massive because, again, if he's worked for a lot of his career with young players, we've got a young side. That's got to be a good thing to have. Whereas you look at previous managers like Sabri Lamucci, he's only worked with like first-team players. He's never going to look at academies. Neil Warnock never going to look at academies. If Warnock there now, we would never see Ruben Colwell. It would have been at least 4 years ago if Warnock's there. But because we've got someone who has worked with academies, he knows what he's looking for. He knows what to spot. I think that's a massive thing for us. And I think it does help having Darren Purse, who's probably... He's the guy who's been in the academy as well. So he's probably saying, look, this lad can make a step now. Louis ready to make a step up. Dylan's, I think that's massive. I think that's only going to help us in the long run as well, because I know some people like to criticise the academy, or they're not going to make a step up, or they'll be gone a year or two. One, if they go on have careers, it shows we produce players. So one, there's that. Two, we could sell one player for say £1 million. Let's cover the academy for a year. Again, there's just so many things you can do, and as long as you're producing players that go on have careers, kids from other areas are going to go or else have Cardiff because they got a better track record of producing players. Yeah. Whereas Swansea will get one player through the academy, the release all the 10, and that's it then. But this side, I'm producing them. I'm giving them. So it's going to help us in the long run as well.
And we've also got, you look to next summer, you would think that Louis Giles, Dylan Lawler, Joel Colwell, there's one other, I can't remember who, Perrott maybe. There's a couple of them who are going to be pushing for first team spots in the pre-season at least. And it's like, the fans want those homegrown players. But if you've got 3 or 4 who are genuinely, Reindorf to come back off loan as well, pushing for first team football, that's massive, mate. Especially because we've got some good young players in the first team already, by the way. Salic, Tanner, obviously Alves is loan, but Ashford, Colwell, they're all under 25.
Even Joel.
Fish, Joel Colwell, Joel Bagan. There's so many, and that's what I mean about Cardiff have got a very unique opportunity in the summer, and I've said this a few times, where normally when you want to evolve your squad and bring the age down and the rest of it, you've got to sell players. But we've got a bit of a unique opportunity now, so I think they need to be very sure about who they want to keep and how they want to keep them. Just my opinion. Another thing on Rhys, it'll be really interesting how Rocco Simic turns out, because he's very clear he's got a plan for him. He's managing him. He scored 3 in 3 games for the 21s. Publicly, Omar Risa has said he's not ready. But I wonder what he's saying privately, because he also said Dylan Lawler wasn't ready a week ago. And Dylan Lawler just played against Aston Villa, and Rhys has praised him about his debut and blah, blah, blah afterwards. So I say this all the time. What a manager says in a press conference, it don't matter. It's bullshit. They've just got to be there. They contractually have to be there. And they got to answer questions about injuries, and then you'll get certain journalists or media or people with press passes who will ask slightly more interesting questions about a Simic or a Dylan Lawler or whoever. And if he bigs them up too much, they might get a bit of an ego. They might start saying, "Well, why aren't I playing?" It puts more pressure on the player, puts more pressure on the team, puts more pressure on the manager to play him. Whereas if they say, "Oh, he's not quite ready," but speaks to him privately and says, keep doing what you're doing, keep scoring, keep defending, whatever, keep doing your job, and you will get your opportunity. Dylan Lawler, a week ago, he said he wasn't ready, and he's just put in a performance like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Simic keeps scoring. if we see him just all out of the blue, a couple of injuries or something, and he just is in there. Because I don't think he's miles off it, simply because he was playing Champions League football and scoring 12 months ago. So he can't be that bad. But it might be the physical side of it. Could be anything, couldn't it?
You know what fan base.
Oh, sorry, mate. That's what I was going to say. I did hear from a Corvick fan that when Simic went to Corvick, he had a bit of an attitude on him. Like, he had a bit of an ego. Thought he was too good to be there. So it could also be a case of that. Like, trying to humble him a little bit and say, look, just because you've signed for X amount of money, just because you've come from Champions League club doesn't mean that you just walk in the side, doesn't mean that you've made it. You've got to work for it. There's all sorts of things that people don't see behind the scenes. Not every player takes to the Championship like Salic has. Darlin did his first couple of games, looked like he was going to take to it like a duck to water, but then he's had a couple of rocky spells since then. Not rocky spells, but rocky games. He sometimes just has the odd game where he gets a bit physically dominated, or just little things. Like, it's quick, fast, physical league, and it's difficult for players who come from different leagues where it's a lot more kind of possession based and slow. They have to adapt. So yeah, I would back him to deal with young players, mate.
Some of our fans, like, there's a certain section, right, who like to, if they're like the manager, no matter what he does, they'll never turn him over. Let's be honest, if Rhys kind of said, look, Simic has got the ability, he's going to do it, and he doesn't score in 3 or 4 games, some of the fans are going to say, he doesn't know what he's talking about, Rhys. He hasn't got a clue. That's a problem with our fan base. I would say keep I don't know what the contracts are. I'd say keep Ramsey and Joe Rawls. I'd say, though, player/coach, we need to keep players like them from the academy in and around the first team, coaching and stuff. We've got a young squad, right? If Rambo is injured, he can work with like Robertson, Ruben, Turnbull. Again, the experience he's got, you can't buy that. We need to keep people like that in and around the club. I mean, same with Rolls. I'd like to see Gupta stay. I think he's a top centre-half on his day. He's a top European centre-half on his day. He's big, he's strong. He won't get bullied. He rags strikers. He likes to leave a foot in on a challenge. I think something's happened. I think he is homesick. I think we've seen that previously. I think he lost his grandmother last year. He scored his QPR and he was crying on the side. Now let's be honest, CEO's gone, his compatriot. He probably feels alone now. He's probably thinking I'm off in the summer regardless. The manager brought me and he's gone. But I do think we need to replace that. I don't think Darlin's shown he's quite there yet. So I do think we need to bring in someone a bit more experience. Especially if you've got a young back. Got a young back line, you will need a leader there, some experience there. I don't think Matty will stay. I think Matty's he did the job we paid him to do. Now it's to work hard, hold the ball. I don't think we signed him to score 15 goals. I don't think that was his game. I think we've gotten better players now. That's nothing against him. I think thank you, but we should part ways in the summer. One or two of the not the youngsters, but one or two players out on loan, I think, might go permanently in the summer. Eli King, I don't think he's really kicked on at Stevenage. We have high hopes for him after his loan spell in Scotland. But then you've got a lot of young players then who will be chomping at the bit next year to play first team football. And if they can't play with us, they might go on loan. But we've got to start putting things in contracts now, saying, if you loan him, you've got to play him X amount of games or you pay us a fee. Because Joe Well's on the bench now. He is at Exeter. I've seen him come on right back. I've seen him come on midfield. And that's not going to help his development at all.
I said it at the time, there was no need to bring him back. I understand wanting to play him at a higher level, but ultimately he was benefiting from playing week in, week out at Cheltenham. He was loved. They loved him. He was playing. He was starting. He was the main man. He was scoring goals. He was assisting. He was performing. There was no need to change it. When you look at some of the loans, Raheem Conte's come back from his because he wasn't playing. And there's all sorts of reasons why players don't play. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not good enough, but he was somewhere where he was playing week in, week out. Yes, you would like him at League One level, and I think they've got a plan whereby they're looking for him to be pushing into the first team in the summer. So they felt like they needed that next step to put him in League One, but they should have it's difficult, isn't it? Because you can't tell teams to play him. But
my argument was back in January was simple, right? At Cheltenham, he's the main man. He's the number 10. Everything goes through him. That's a different kind of pressure, that is. That's a pressure I would know when it's on his shoulders. He's got to get things going for the team. That's better for his development because they can look for him every week now. He's going to be on the team sheet every week. You go to League One at Exeter, no offence, they fight a relegation fight, mid-table, but if you're lucky, mid-table. The moment about two results go against them, the first ones they're going to drop their own players because they're going to say they don't care enough. They're gone next season, it doesn't matter. He's a youngster. What's the point? It doesn't matter. He's not going to be the number 10 that starts every week there now. He's not. It's not going to go through him. So then he's going to be on the bench. I just thought you should have left him at Cheltenham. He could have ended the season 20 goals or 15 goals, 10 assists.
Yeah, he was flying, man.
They loved him as well. They've been absolutely fantastic. Michael Flynn down there as well, ex-Newport. He's a local Welsh lad. He got the best at him. He knew what he was doing. I just thought it was poor for the club to really call him back. And
look, in the interest of fairness, I believe that it was Omar Rhys which made that decision. Which, if he did, he's got to hold his hands up and say maybe he got it wrong. But I don't know for sure that it was him. But that was the impression that I got. But equally, like, you know, I think Rhys is doing a good job, but I think I can see what they're trying to do, and I still stand by. You know, sometime between now and the end of the season, it'll all click into place. Maybe when all the players are fit, and suddenly someone will come down to the Cardiff City Stadium, or we'll go somewhere and we'll stick 3 or 4 on him, and it'll be like, there you go. That's what he's been building towards. But you know, he's still got to do it, and we've got to pick up points. What would you be happy with from the next 2 games, point-wise?
Well,
would you
6 points. 6 points landed. But yeah, if we get a clean sheet in one of them 2 games, I'll be happy. If we get a goal in another game, I'll be happy. But 2 points at the next 2 games is massive, and then look to beat Luton. But we've got to be beating Luton at home. They're bottom of the league. They look awful. They're the worst team I've seen us play this season. We've got to beat them. I would love actually to know which players Rhys would like to leave if he has his choice. Because I reckon there's a few players at the club, right, that have been signed by someone upstairs and they've got to stay. And I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them players he'd be thinking, I'd love to get them at the door. I need them gone. I mean,
well, this is my concern. Who's making the decisions?
This says a lot, right? When we got Jamlu Collins available to play, and we got kids playing instead of him. So obviously there's something really wrong there because I think his attitude's shocking first of all. But that says it all. At this point as a club, I think they just say, look, pay him up, get him up the club. We'll free a space up now. We can bring another defender in, maybe a loan, maybe a free one, and we got space for a keeper if we are running with 1 keeper for the season. But that says it all. I mean, not being funny, but we had high hopes of Jamlo. He came in, looked good, got injured, came back, he looked scared of the ball. When he had the ball, he was giving it away quickly, he wasn't getting stuck into a challenge. I think there's a few players at the club, but the manager would like to see gone, if I'm honest with you. And I would love to know which ones. So I think a few would surprise people.
Yeah. No comment. I ain't touching that with a barge pole, mate.
I'll go there, don't mind.
But all I would say about Jamadu Collins is I am astounded that he's still at the football club. I cannot believe that he either wasn't sold in January or we didn't pay him off. If you look as well, do the pictures and the videos of him training and stuff? He's never in any of them. Yeah, no, they haven't trained with the first team for. Well, I could tell you the exact game, but I won't. He hasn't been with the first team for a while. And by the way,
rightly so.
Fucking right, mate. And that's why I'm absolutely astounded that he is still there. Like, I just, considering they ended up paying off what's his face, I forgot his name, who got arrested.
Romeo. I think you can. I'm not sure because he committed a crime. I think there's a way around that they can release him without paying him up. I think, isn't it? Or they can pay only part of it. But then again, looking at last season, Jack Simpson, racist abuse towards one of the players. One of the academy players was witness to it, came forward, a major investigation. They played Jack Simpson in the cup game with the players. I'm not being funny. That just shows how bad things are at the club sometimes, because there's some players that shouldn't be nowhere near.
Lack of communication, isn't it?
It's fucking shocking. Like I said, I would love to know which players he would manager like to keep. Because like I said, I think there's a few players there at the club who should be going now, and I think I'll surprise a few people, if I'm honest, too.
Yeah, I'd be interested, mate, to know, because I think there's, like you say, I think there's probably a couple in there which people would be shocked by, that they would probably move on if they had the choice to. But it's like, who makes the decision? Is it the chairman, the board, the owner, the manager? Like, who's deciding which ones of those, which players in the squad keep staying and going? Like, I don't understand, because you can't really make it up to Omar Rhys at the moment, because he's only contracted to the summer. So you can't allow him carte blanche to get rid of X, Y, and Z if he's not going to be there past the summer. Right. But someone's got to make the decision. So is it going to be the board? Well, we've already discussed at length that there's no one with any football knowledge on there. So are they the right people to be making decisions on who to stay and who to go in the playing squad? I would have thought not. So it's certainly an answer. It's a question that I would like an answer to.
Same. Because again, if say now he gets told tonight, now look, the job is yours for another year at least, he can now start planning for the summer for next season. But if he's thinking, I might not get the job, I won't be surprised if he's going, right, I've got a plan for next season. If I'm not due, I'll take it to my next club. So again, it's just, again, the
other thing as well,
thinking the club is just shocking.
Do you know the other thing as well, mate, is say Rhys keeps us up, but we don't keep him on after the summer. I reckon he gets another championship job. I think someone else would take a break, because I was speaking to someone who works at Sky on championship football, and his reputation and the job that he's done at Cardiff, like outside of the club, is wholly looked at as if he's done a wicked, amazing job. Now, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it's amazing, but I think he's done a very good job under difficult circumstances with limited backing, limited support. And, like, let's remember, he came in when we had 1 goal, 1 point. And by the way, at that point, not only that, but we also looked like half the squad didn't want to be at the football club. I think a couple of the squad weren't speaking to each other. Like, it was a big divide in that dressing room. And he's brought them all together where, you know, how many performances recently have we said, well, they've dug in and they've just ground it out, or they've done some, like, they look like they're fighting for it. Yeah. That's a testament to the management job that he's done. Whether you like him or not, whether you think he's the guy or not, you cannot deny that he's brought a fractured dressing room together.
And again, say that does happen when they replace him in the summer, that's probably Richard Shaw going with him. That's probably Darren Pearce gone. I mean, there's a whole new backroom staff you've got to bring in again there. And you got players there work with a new backroom staff, a new coaching, a new way of coaching, a new system of play. There's no continuity. What's the word? There's no continuity. Yeah, exactly. It's something different every 6 months, and it's a different style of play, a different brand of play. You know, what if the next manager doesn't play a Ruben, doesn't want to play a Salik, or he wants to change the way he plays? And this is the problem we've got. Like, and again, the problem is the board have no idea. You've probably got Chu saying one thing, Dalman saying one thing, and Tan thinking something totally different. And it doesn't work, that, does it? Do you mean? Because we all know whatever Tan says goes. And it could be anything. He could be upset we lost to Villa tonight. He might be thinking we should score 4 goals. Let's just sack him. And that's what we got to work with. That's what we got to deal with as fans. And again, being a manager at our club is hard enough as it is, without having that hanging over your shoulder as well.
Great point.
There's a lovely touching tribute to Whitlam tonight as well, mind I thought.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
And I seen the article earlier as well. The family have said that the club are talking to him about the statue. I hope that's true, because if there's ever a player that deserves a statue out of place, it's Whitlam. He is by far the greatest player I've seen play for us. He's
one of the greatest championship players ever, mate. Just ignore that with me.
He's the greatest championship player for me. I know people say, Tarat was fantastic. Yeah, he had 1 good season in the championship. Whitlam had, 10 years in the championship. I think he had, what was it, 5 or 6 with six or 7 with Cardiff, 2 in the Premiership. He had one with Blackburn, I think it was, or League One Blackburn. He's by far the best player I've seen in the Championship. Whitnam is so consistent. And under Dave Jones, he played in that a wide 3 sort of thing it was. Because when we went forward, it was like a 4-3-3. And it was no one else was doing that. And it was 21 goals, I think it was. Top goal scorer in the Championship. Absolutely fantastic. Honestly, by far the best effort I've seen.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. He's the greatest Championship player ever for me. Just special player. It was a nice touch this evening. Right, mate. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. Bit of a late night one, but thank you to everyone who's tuned in. I know we didn't go to the comments as much this evening, but it's a late one. We're tired and we're just had a good old chat about all things. But let's finish off on this. Cardiff City didn't disgrace themselves this evening against the Champions League side. They dug in with teenagers at the back. Ruben Colwell showed again what he's capable of, as did Am Ramsey and a few others. However, if we take that into the Burnley game on Tuesday, I believe that we can get something from that game. What we do need to do, got to take our chances. Got to take our chances when they come. But no, it's been a pleasure, mate, as always. You're back tomorrow, aren't you? You back?
Yeah, with Matt. Yeah, but with Matt tomorrow night, yeah.
So yeah, the boys will be back tomorrow night. I'm sure we'll have some other bits and pieces. See how we go. I might get a player ratings video out tomorrow as well, or Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday. I'm trying to work on a special guest actually for Sunday night. We'll see how that pans out. But if not, it'll be the breakdown as normal. As always, thank you to everyone. If you can become a member, please do. And obviously, if you can, please make sure you're subscribed. All that good stuff. And hopefully, you've all got your tickets for Glenn Loovens. If you haven't, have a look in the description below or on my socials. And get tickets. Bargain prices. Bargain drinks on the night. Special guests. All sorts. You get to say hello to Rhys. You get to say hello to myself and Glenn Loovens. And it's going to be a cracking night. And I cannot wait. It's going to be a good one. Take care, my friends. And we'll see you soon.